In this video, I'm going to break down some of my clips to show you guys how you can become solo gods. Oh, sorry, dude. Now this one's fairly simple, but I think I'm speaking for everyone when I say we often forget or become lazy when positioning ourselves during fights. Now positioning is key, especially when you're fighting against more than one person when you're on your own. You want to make sure that you get a position which is advantageous to you, i.e. height, a power spot, head glitch, or being behind a door so you can peek as the enemy runs towards you. These kind of things will often give you an advantage and allow you to do early damage when the enemy struggles to shoot you in return. Another key thing to remember in positioning is knowing when to leave. Often at times, especially I do this, where you get too aggressive, you know you're in a good spot, but the enemy just decides they're going to push you all at once, and often that spot then becomes useless and undefendable. So try and think ahead to what could happen. Try and always be one step ahead of the opponent you're fighting. If there's a caustic in a building, like there is in this first clip, I know that it's going to be a really difficult push, especially with them being a lifeline. So even if I get a knock, I'm no doubt going to be fighting 2 versus 1 the whole time. I know zone is coming though, and I know I can break distance, so I use the zips and get into different position, and therefore I have an advantage shooting them as they cross the open, and I can easily isolate using cover into a 1v1. Now this is fairly simple, but if you can use doors correctly or off angles, it often will give you an edge over an opponent. In this first clip, I'm getting pushed by 2 guys, and instead of healing on one side, I decide to heal on the doorway. This means that when the Octane decides to push me, I can actually wrap to the other side very easily. I don't take any damage doing this whatsoever. And then I also play the door. I attack the Octane, knowing that the other teammate is on the other side, so he's either going to commit to going back round, or he's going to have to push me through the same doorway I've just come into. This second clip I included because I think it's important to see when I'm on the back foot. So this enemy's really good. He cracks me straight away with 2 shots with a wingman and puts me on the back foot. Instead of deciding to heal on the outside or heal on the inside of the building, I decide to stay on the door. And because I know the opponent's going to be pushing me quickly, they're not going to be able to pull up their gun and shoot me. So I get a quick 40-50 damage on this guy, which allows me to easily then win the fight as I put the fight more in my own favour. Now this is a pretty obvious one, but being able to completely gun your opponent is important. You can have the best decision making in the world, the best positioning, but if you can't take advantage of that because of your shots, then you're not going to win. And these are just a series of clips of me not necessarily being in the best spot, but using my superior aim to come out on top.
There's a Moors there, trying to get up.
I downed an enemy. Reloading. Recharging my shields. They spotted me. Shots. Arcstar out.
This is arguably the most important point out of them all, and that's isolating those 1v1s. You always need to make sure you're only having a fight with one person at a time. Even if there's 3 enemies in front of you, use your angles and make sure you're only shooting 1 at a time. Now in this first clip, I'm getting chased by these guys. I know they're quite aggressive, so I port into the open, which allows me to have an advantage over the opponent when they go through my portal. I easily isolate these 2 guys as they're so aggressive. It's often easier when a team is aggressive to actually fight them than if they're passive. Now this next fight is an endgame. I've literally just self-revived and got away. I'm quite shaky in these clips and my aim does go all over the place, but this is another perfect example of isolating those 1v1s. I'm playing against a trio and I get nice shots on this guy flying through the air. So instead of attacking the Wraith as soon as she lands, I'm making sure to get that down on the first guy. That makes it so much easier from that point onwards. I know the Loba isn't anywhere near me, so I can isolate another fight with the Wraith and then fight the Loba last. Patience. Now, this is easily the most forgotten point in solo squadding, but often at times you'll have somebody tantalizingly low, but if you push them, you're going to die instantly. This clip is a perfect example of waiting out the time. I know that I get this Pathfinder knock. Luckily he leaves the game, so he makes it into 2v1 pretty quickly, but I know that I can't push when there's a Rampart and she's holding a shield and it's a Bloodhound. So instead I'm going to wait out. I'm going to wait for one of them to push me, isolate them, and then go in for the kill. Unfortunately though, this tip is probably the most painful, because the only way you'll understand and figure out when to push and when not to push and when to be patient is dying over and over and over again. But it will in time make you a way better player.
Recharging my shield. Shots. Need to recharge my shields. Coming. Getting shot at. Need to recharge my shields. Void jumping. They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Void running.
Oh, man's got the thing. He's got the fucking thing. I hope you found some of these breakdowns helpful. I'm not the greatest player in the world and I don't claim to be. I have only been playing FPS for about 2 years. I'm growing at a considerable rate though, so if you fancy following my journey and growing as a player at the same time as I do, consider subscribing. And what do you think about me breaking down other players' gameplays? Let me know in the comments below.